Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated.
Go! Planned Brotherhood! Planned Brotherhood! Nick are out of control. They would crash the airwaves with a microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now take off your clothes. Planned Brotherhood! Planned Brotherhood!
So being unemployed, it's hard for you to watch a lot of television. Is that true?
I know you're joking. It actually is hard for me because I don't have cable.
Or friends anymore who have cable?
I have some friends. It just happens that literally none of my friends, at least locally, have cable that I can think of.
That's
Maybe
gotta be why
Haley,
it's great
but-
to come into my house.
Yeah, it's kind of great, except for you take over the remote, and then it's just World Series of Poker all fucking day.
So not true.
Even when you're not watching it and you're just playing online poker. I guess it inspires you being in the background.
No, that's fucking not true. If anything, I was watching it. That inspired me to get online and play it. From then on, you're welcome to change the channel.
Yeah,
You
but
got
then
toilet paper on your face.
God.
And we're not cutting that out. So you've never seen, like, the new 90210?
No, have you?
I think I caught an episode of it, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's already in
What about the new
second
Melrose?
season. No, I haven't seen that. Ashley Simpson's in that.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
So that's where she's at in her career. She decided that was okay?
I guess. Have you seen anything about the new Jenna Elfman sitcom, Accidentally on Purpose?
Knocked up the TV series is what I hear.
Pretty much, except like she's an older lady with a much younger guy. But yeah, same thing, like she just met him. Alvina was telling me how she tried the first episode, and oh my god, it was so ridiculous, but by the end it was so cute.
What, really? She said that?
Yeah.
Your wife, how's her taste in TV? Do you guys usually agree on what to watch?
No, the only things that
But when Big Brother or Amazing Race comes on,
See,
fucking clear the living room.
that's
PJ
what-
and Alvina are bonding.
that's what I was going to say. Like, even when we do love the same shows, they're admittedly awful shows.
I'd say Big Brother and Amazing Race are the least embarrassing of the shows you admit to watching that are reality.
I was going to try to give Survivor a try this year, but I missed the first week, so maybe
You've never
next
tried
year.
before?
No.
Maybe you don't jump in 17 seasons in.
Wow, that's how I was with Big Brother and The Amazing Race, though. I've only been watching those last couple of years. They've changed my life.
Well, Big Brother specifically, whenever I watch it with you and your wife, it feels like you guys are constantly having to explain to me what's going on. Because I don't know how the HOH works.
Right.
I know what it stands for.
And you haven't been watching it since the very beginning of the season. Like, you just catch, weird random things.
No, Nick, this is America's Player. Let me explain it to you again.
Alvina watches one of her favorite new shows is called Drop Dead Diva. It is so ridiculous.
Well, the name itself should tip you off.
It's on the Lifetime channel, and it's like some girl who's beautiful model.
The channel itself should tip her off.
Some girl who's a beautiful model. I don't understand how the thing works, but she dies and enters the body of a very overweight lawyer so she has to like deal with being fat and actually get by on her smarts. I don't know what happened to the actual lawyer that she's replacing if she died. She's not in the model's body because the model's dead, and like she works with her boyfriend, and there's some sort of guardian angel, but like he always needs to borrow money for food, and it's a very stupid show.
Sounds
So-
awful.
I hate when I'm describing something I'm not interested in. Everything's ending like a question.
Yeah.
When I say it, God, I notice that all the time.
I just want to answer you.
Bones. Do you watch Bones?
No, I don't watch fucking Bones.
Bones came back.
The Lesser Deschanel. Is that how you say it? Deschanel?
Deschanel, maybe.
She looks like her, except for a more plain Jane version of her, and
Yeah.
that's just unappealing to
More
me.
Amazonian and manly.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's what gonna be when you're a what is she, a forensic Scientologist?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch it. Bored to Death is that new one with Jason Schwartzman.
And Galifianakis, right?
A little bit of Galifianakis.
Oh, just a little.
Yeah, always funny though. Usually
Since
in
The
for
Hangover,
one
man, they've
scene.
really been pimping that as his show, you know.
Yeah.
So what is it, like a current day detective thing?
Yeah, he's like a writer whose girlfriend breaks up with him.
Does he drink gimlets?
No, but he drinks white wine, actually. I would have copied that. I do want to copy him by just all of a sudden start being a private investigator.
So this is an HBO series, right?
Yeah. His
How is it?
girlfriend
How
is
many episodes have there been?
there's only been 2. There's one that I missed on Sunday. But
So you're basing it on the pilot alone, then?
no, 2 episodes.
I thought you said you didn't want.
I saw 2. The third one I missed on Sunday.
Everybody knows math. Let's move along.
Olivia Thirlby plays his girlfriend, and yeah, he just like does detective work. It's actually not a very good show.
What else you got? Can I talk about Fringe for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so that's in its second season now. I think there have been 3 episodes. And despite my shitty internet, I sit and I watch it because, I rented the first season on DVD. And I had received them in the mail, and I happened to be talking to you and mentioned it, but I hadn't seen any yet. And I think your response when I asked if you knew anything about it was, prepare for the gayest show ever.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I would agree with you until I got past the first few episodes, man. I realized it was bad, but it got better.
I didn't see the first few episodes. I saw later episodes of the season.
It's much like Lost in that you have to start from the beginning,
No,
and that
I
J.J.
doubt
Abrams
that's
is a
true.
genius.
I didn't feel lost at all, that's for sure.
I will say that Joshua Jackson is an a-hole in that show. Like, he's the one responsible for all the wisecracks, and my dad's crazy. I've got some secrets that I'm not telling you. And then the fucking main chick is pretty lame, too. I only like Walter Bishop, whatever that actor's name is. John Noble, I'm going to guess. I'm not going to guess. I knew that.
All right, so you geeked out on fucking Fringe.
Yeah, I'll tell you that because you apparently have a big boner for Dexter, which I do not understand. I understand to the degree that I'm caught up.
My boner for Dexter is average. It's not big. I don't love it as much as, say, A Criminal Minds.
You have to work it up. Okay. I don't know where to start, Criminal Minds or Dexter. They're both terrible shows.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
Then why?
Because it's entertaining enough to watch, and they know that
I feel that way about Dexter. Criminal Minds, you're just wrong.
Okay, like as far as Criminal Minds goes, there's another show much like it called NCIS about like naval command people, but it is
Sure, it's got Mark Harmon, right?
yeah, but like the way their team interacts with each other is way too over the top, way too fucking hammy.
But not Criminal Minds.
No, not really. Occasionally, like they have this,
Everybody is over the top in that show.
there's the same character in both show, not like a crossover, but the same type character who's like the freaky girl computer expert who's like really smart on computers, but she's super quirky.
She's got the pigtails, right? Are we talking about NCIS
On
still?
NCIS,
Yeah,
she's got the pigtails.
I know exactly who you're talking
On
about.
Criminal Minds, there's a girl exactly like her, except she's like a fat blonde lady. And
I know who you're talking about there, too.
She flirts with with the black guy on the team, and so because he's always like, "Hey, gorgeous," "Hey, sweetheart," stuff like that when he talks to her.
They like a big ass.
"Hey there, mama," stuff like that, and they like have dirty talk with each other. So we always come up with our own things to say, like, "Hey, tons of fun."
We, as in you and your wife.
Yeah. "Hey, chunky monkey, what's going on?"
If there's one thing your wife loves to do, it's making fun of people's appearances on TV and in real life, I guess.
But we do it in bits. It's always great.
Yeah, as long as you're doing a character, it can't be held against you.
There's a new show called Brothers, and it's all
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I want to go back to Dexter.
played by a bunch of brothers.
I
Mike
watched.
Traynor is living the good life in New York. Handsome, wealthy, and recently retired from the NFL.
Why are you just ignoring me?
He seems to have it all. But a phone call from his mother sends him flying back to his hometown of Houston, where he finds that a car accident has left his brother, Chill, played by Daryl Chill Mitchell, in a wheelchair, struggling to keep his restaurant open.
Wait, what are you reading?
This is the description of a new show called Brothers.
Oh, okay.
When she learns that Mike's manager absconded with all of Mike's hard-earned money, Mike's scheming mother is determined to get Mike in Houston to help save Chill's restaurant and bring her family back together again.
I'll give it a chance. I'll give it till episode 2.
Yeah. Okay,
Can we go back to Dexter for a minute?
Sure.
I know you're further caught up than me, I guess just by an episode. I just finished the full 3rd season, and this is one of those shows, and I may have mentioned it before, I can't stand hardly anybody on that show.
Yeah.
Everybody is an over-the-top character, including and especially Dexter, probably,
Yeah.
until Jimmy Smits came along in Season 3. Anybody, we should put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode that says if you don't care about TV or movies, don't listen, because I'm going to go off on this for a minute. Jimmy Smits on that show, first, I won't give spoilers, I'm just going to this impersonation might be a spoiler. I've been working on this one, because this is him for the entire 10-episode run. Dexter, we're one and the same, Dexter.
We're the same, Dexter. He also says coño, coño. Yeah, he's super over the
I
top.
share your passion, Dexter.
And we've talked.
Amigo, trust me.
We've talked about
This is not bovine's blood.
in Weeds,
Okay, I did give one spoiler.
like in Weeds and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a show I had to stop watching.
They take ridiculous risks for what they're doing, but because like they know everything is going to work out. They don't take anything seriously. That's
Yeah.
kind of like Dexter.
I think
But this new season with Lithgow's supposed to be great.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it yet. I've just been reading up about it online. My Jimmy Smits was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's funnier when I'm not putting myself on the spot and I just go into it. It's usually at least before I'd finish the season. Every episode I'd work on it in my downtime.
Yeah, but it's not that good. You're just like Dexter. He's more like
I'm just saying he's a one-note character.
I haven't even seen it in a year, and I'll try to do it a little better.
Okay.
You know who I think's got to go, Dexter?
Offensive.
Is that lawyer? That lawyer, oh my God, Dexter, she just runs my ass. But there's a code. There's a code that we have
Fuck
to
the
follow.
coat. Get out of my house until the.
Okay, Cornel, you're right. You're right. Okay, Cornel. And then he just goes and kills her on his own.
What's his brother's name? I want you to mourn for his brother in the voice.
I don't remember because I haven't seen
Oscar.
it in like
It's
a year.
Oscar.
You know, somebody took Oscar from me, Dexter, and when I find him, Cornel.
That was definitely more over the top than anything in Fringe, which I think you should start from the beginning. You learn about the pattern, you'll be totally into it, man.
I have no interest in French.
All right, moving on then. What about Friends?
Speaking of Friends, Cougar Town with Courtney Cox.
Yeah, have you seen that?
No.
I imagine you watch everything at least once, but I guess not.
I saw a promo for.
But Monica was your least favorite Friends character, right? Or was it Rachel?
No, it was Phoebe.
Oh, that's right.
But the other two women were my second and third least favorite.
Of course.
No, here's a joke from one of the promos from Cougar Town. And let me see if you can spot what I hate about this joke. And a woman, so she's there and she's got her younger guy with her because apparently that's the theme of the show is we bag younger guys,
It's
like
all in the
college
title.
age guys. Yeah. And another cougar turns to their table and they're eating salad, Courtney Cox and her young man. And she says...
It's not a tossing the salad joke, is it?
No. The other lady turns around and she says, "Oh, can I have a bite of that?" And Courtney Cox goes, "What, my salad?" And she says, "No, him." About the boy. And the reason I hate that is there's a sitcom called Still Standing.
I like that you set that up like it was going to be challenging for me to figure out what you hated about that joke.
No, this is what I hate about the joke.
Okay.
It's,
Everything.
No, it's when every sentence of it would have to go just perfectly for it to work.
That's
Still
why I don't
Standing
like
does it
comic
all the
strips as
time.
much as I should.
Like, oh God, if I could think of one example, but if you say something like, "Oh, you know, I just got home from rolling a big ball down some wood," and then the wife will always go, "Oh, did you go bowling?" When you wouldn't really say that, you just assume that, and then he's like, "No, I put my mother back in her room," or something like that.
I'll tell you the two worst culprits as far as that goes.
Oh, okay, please do.
Foxtrot is a comic strip, and everything is built on a question that nobody would think to ask each other. I realize it's a cartoon comic strip, but still, it's annoying. And Married with Children used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
And that would always result in a whoop and a howl from the audience.
Right.
Because he made some sexual innuendo.
But it had to work just perfectly. He said something, and then the other, like, that joke would never
They're prompted
work.
to ask questions that they would never be prompted
Right.
to ask. Yeah. I absolutely know what you're talking about.
Community with Joel McHale. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. How about you?
I watched the first episode, and then halfway through the second episode, I said it's not for me.
Why is that? You don't think it's just finding its feet?
I think I hate Chevy Chase. That has a lot to do with it. I think
So you're
I
not
hate,
a fan of Chuck either, then?
I think I hate Chevy Chase as a person. So I.
That's
just
only
because
because you read that goddamn SNL book.
It worked. It influenced me. Curb Your Enthusiasm, of course, is back.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
You already gave me some spoilers. If anybody doesn't know, this isn't a spoiler, but the whole Seinfeld cast reunites, right?
Yeah.
So basically the bulk of the season, I think, is Larry David focusing on putting together a Seinfeld reunion, right?
So that he can get his.
And I read in Entertainment Weekly, this is as close to a reunion as they'll ever come, and it's all scripted.
Yeah.
Well, as scripted as Curb Your Enthusiasm ever is, I'm sure. What's your reception? I haven't seen. I mean, I'm caught up, but I haven't seen any of this season
I think this last episode, which had the whole Seinfeld cast in it,
for the first time, right?
Yeah, was a lot funnier than the first 2 episodes. There's things I didn't like about it. I don't like Michael Richards as a character on the show. Like, he's very.
And you said they haven't introduced the topic of his recent racism.
No, but he was only in a couple minutes of this episode.
They're going to have to bring it up, right?
He was like meeting with them all individually, and like Michael Richards' thing was that like he barely spoke and was really weird, and I don't know.
Maybe what they're trying to say is he's still really affected by what he's done.
Maybe, but he seems affected by life. Like everything fascinates him and stuff.
Well, that's pretty lame.
Eastwick is a new show based on the
Witches of
movie,
Eastwick,
which
I don't think I ever saw. I know somebody throws up cherries or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. My wife is a fan of the show.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I've just read trash reviews for that thing, but I don't know myself.
Well, hopefully it won't last.
It's actually pretty boring for me. I don't watch TV.
Flash forward.
No, although I think that had the biggest series premiere numbers this year so far.
Yeah, it was.
But
huge.
it's not because anybody really likes it. In fact, I think there was a big drop off between the first and the second episode.
There is some super over the top acting in it, and I read something about how the creators felt like really rushed by the studios to like show so many flash forwards that these people had while they blacked out, because they black out and they get a couple minute glimpse, like a 2 minute and some odd second glimpse into
6 months from now.
6 months from then, which is like April 10th, 2010 or something like that. And
which is scheduled to be the last episode
Yeah.
of the season. Pretty clever.
yeah, but so, and then I read that they just felt too rushed. Like they show like 5 different peoples, and like within 20 minutes of it, all of that has happened. I didn't think they gave the experience of the blackout very well, because like as far as the Joseph Fiennes characters go, the Joseph Fiennes character goes, like he gets real tired or fatigued or whatever while he's in a high pursuit chase. But the thing is, like, he's like almost about ready to pass out, but he's looking around at other people who are looking at him all weird, but they're all supposed to have done it at the same time. And then it was just like flash of him in the future, and he's working on the case, and he's drinking again, and his wife has cheated on him and stuff like that. And it didn't feel very real to me. You know what I mean? I didn't feel
Not
like,
the same way Lost does to you.
yeah, like it was just something about it. Maybe like, you know, that he's not seeing himself the way we're seeing him. Like maybe it should have been first person as far as point of view, camera angle, you know?
Yeah. I realize the whole thing is pretty much based around a gimmick. It just seems like they blew their wad in the first episode. Like, we know it's going to end up this way, whether it takes a long time to get there or not.
Yeah.
Now we just
And,
have to
like,
figure out why he divorced his wife and became an alcoholic. Or whatever.
Well,
I mean, I haven't seen the show.
Well, his thing is like trying to find out the source of life, but it's so just overly acted, like John Cho going like, "I need to tell you something. I didn't see anything in my flash forward." And like 2 minutes after it happens, everyone in America is calling them flash forwards already. And I didn't see anything in my flash forward. Well, don't worry about it. Maybe you were just asleep. I would have seen what I was dreaming. But then, like, there's another guy who's, like, their boss who's, like, sitting on a toilet taking a shit in his flash forward, just reading the paper. And it's like, if you knew exactly what time and what day was going to happen, like, you'd think that that would actually be on his mind rather than just sitting down to take a shit, you know what I mean? Because when it happens, they all know it's going to have happened. See, did I blow your mind or what?
Yeah, a little bit.
When
More
it-
so than the show apparently will.
When it happens, when this date comes up in 2010, they're all going to know that this is what I saw in my flash forward. Because, like, the one guy's working on the case and stuff
But they
like
see
that.
themselves?
Yeah.
They see a flash of themselves, like an outside perspective?
No,
of
that's what I'm
themselves?
saying. That's the problem with it. Is
Oh, okay.
That's what you see, but, like, you're assuming that they just
Are
saw.
embodied.
Right.
Right.
You know, they're just imagine them. They call it like a memory, but of the future. So like how I'll remember this confused look you're giving me now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember seeing my profile talking, looking at you,
Yeah.
saying it. But that's how they show it. But when that day, like, oh, this is exactly when it happens. Everything that the whole world got in such a thing about, like, why would you just be taking a shit so casually? Because even if nothing major happens at that exact moment, that moment still has a lot of significance for you.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to, oh, I drank too much. You know that first shit of the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
coffee, cigarette shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be conscious of it. Like I'd be marking down the days on my calendar,
Right.
You know, just
But
totally.
he's like just whistling, casually flipping through the paper.
And so he was embarrassed to admit that I'll be taking a shit.
Yeah.
That seems illogical to me. We all do it. You
I
did it twice in a row today.
but no. You think no, the guy who
Am I
did
confused?
No, you think that the guy who didn't see anything was just saying that because he was actually taking a shit.
Yeah, that's the impression I got.
No. The impression you're supposed to get from the show is that he's going to be dead. He didn't see anything because he won't be alive then.
Oh,
and then I
see.
think in this last episode, someone called him and he was like, "I was looking at a case file that told me you were murdered on March 14th," and like that's how the last episode ended.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's really over the top. Acting.
Well, I don't think I'm going to give that one a chance then. Have you been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia since it came back?
No, not really, but
I'm caught
it's
up.
Obviously hilarious.
Apparently, there's some controversy surrounding the most recent episode because of its blatant product placement.
Of what product?
2 products. Coors, they mentioned like a million times and how delicious it is.
Uh-huh.
But the episode was called The Great Recession, so I'm going to assume they were being ironic, kind of.
Yeah.
But the other one was apparently, and this must be a regional thing because I don't think I've ever heard of it, but there's a restaurant / arcade, like a steakhouse and arcade called Dave & Buster's or D&B's.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of commercials for that place, but I don't know if there's any around.
Well, that's the thing is, like, they centered a lot of the episode around this establishment, and then during the commercial breaks, there'd be, like, Coors and Dave & Buster's commercials. So they've been getting a lot of shit for that, but the episode itself was pretty funny.
The worst culprit of that is Burn Notice, because they're endorsed by
I haven't seen that either.
MGD 64, which is a 64-calorie beer, and it's always like, "Drinking again, Sam." Yeah, but at least I'm losing weight while I do it. And then they'll set it down on a napkin, and it's just stock freeze frame shot. God, you know what?
64 calories or no, I don't think you're losing weight by drinking.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen was I talking to you about what they're going to do for commercials now to make people not just fast forward through commercials?
I don't
is
think
to
so.
have like television directors direct commercials,
Well, I see that occasionally.
but that are kind of like shows themselves where like you have to follow it every week to see what's going on.
Oh, no.
Interesting idea, but let me throw this idea out at you. You do a commercial and you make it sound, it's still an entertaining commercial, but basically it's like one long shot, because like if the cable had frozen or something and it's like attorney at law, or if it's just a freeze frame commercial, even when you're fast forwarding through it, you're still going to get a good 6-7 second look at that logo, and that's how it'll stand out to you.
It's not a bad idea.
Because when it's like a hectic Geico commercial, well, maybe Geico.
And you know what? It's resourceful.
But just like a Midas car company commercial, and people are just here and there and in a house and then at the shop, like you're not paying attention to what's going on. You just see Midas brake jobs, $29.
Yeah, so for those that are watching the channel without a DVR and aren't fast forwarding, they'll just think it's like they're like
Right.
you said, they're cable freezing. That's genius.
Right. Well, although they would still be talking over it or whatever, it's just meant to mostly just show the logo, so that while you're fast forwarding it, like, if it's like a long 2-minute commercial, I don't fast forward too fast because you risk seeing what you're about to watch. And, I fast forward at like a 2 or a 3. It takes about 5 seconds to get through the commercial. And it's just one long thing.
How can we make money off this idea?
I know. Like, who do I submit that to?
I don't know, but we're going to put it all into our bar.
The Forgotten, starring Christian Slater, in
I know nothing about it.
the worst.
Let me guess. Amnesia? Is it based around amnesia?
No, I'll read it too. This is hands down the worst acted show that I've caught of all the news shows.
By specifically him? Because he's the star or
E-
everybody?
Everybody in it, including him.
Is there any other recognizable faces? We
There's
said it was
like,
Christian Slater, right?
yeah,
okay.
There's like 1 or 2 people who I know I've seen in something, but okay, here it is. He's a former detective. Alex Donovan leads a team of volunteers known as the Forgotten Network, a dedicated group of amateur sleuths that take on murder cases after the police have reached a dead end.
So it's like Cold Case.
Yeah, unable to identify the deceased. The group meet in coffee shops, living rooms to discuss the evidence in each case, work persistently to learn the identities of the victims before they are buried as a John or Jane Doe. And then they turn their attention on catching the killers. Now, each member of the team has a different motivation for being part of the group. Donovan that's Christian Slater, left the police force after his young daughter disappeared. Candace Butler uses her work in the group to escape the crushing boredom of her job. Science teacher Lindsay Drake uses the network as a form of penance for a crime committed by her husband. True crime enthusiast Walter Bailey simply wants to help, and med school dropout Tyler Davies, who's like the fucking heartthrob, was assigned to the network as his community service.
So they think a show that played out, like I said, Cold Case is already that show. Except for that one at least has some style to it.
And you can't believe that such a different, vast array of people would actually like find like this one guy's.
That's what I'm saying. The whole appeal, apparently, the whole catch, is that they have all these interesting, elaborate backgrounds.
Yeah, but in reality, their
How do you get that as
personalities would
community
never
service,
match.
by the way?
Yeah,
Seems like a pretty sweet
I'm
gig.
going to sentence you to the Forgotten Network.
What did he do? Graffiti?
Did you know that that's a real line from It Happened in Vegas? What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher? Have you ever seen like the trailer set movie? Dennis Miller literally says, "I sentence you to 6 months hard marriage." You ever seen that?
No, but
Would you read that line if you were Dennis Miller? Would you put that
well,
line in
Dennis
the
Miller
movie?
has clearly lost his edge.
Hard marriage.
That reminds me, my favorite fake court scene ever is in.
I know it. Extras, right?
No.
Oh.
Is there a bad one in Extras?
In
I'm
extra,
actually jumping to movies for my answer, but
in the
just briefly.
in the Orlando Bloom episode of Extras, he's shooting a movie at the very beginning, and him.
Oh,
and
so
the
they were
law-
making fun of it within
Right.
the show. Okay.
But him and the other lawyer, like, it becomes very obvious that like they're married or something like that, and having a fight. And you never sent me roses, or I object. I never sent you roses, and it's ridiculous. And the judge says, "I order you to kiss and make up."
I fucking love that. I think the best kind of real example of like this is the scene in the movie where they're really trying to pull at your heartstrings is the fucking last 15 terrible minutes of Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Remember?
Agreed. Everything in that courtroom that could never happen in a courtroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the dad shows up for no reason and gives his moving testimony.
But it's always funny, like when
It's terrible.
Steve Buscemi will be sitting there in the background.
I know.
He calls his soldier dad and salutes the phone.
He's talking to himself and eating out of a McDonald's bag like it's a trough, and he doesn't get kicked out of the court.
Yeah.
It's totally ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's Happy Madison. House Husbands of Hollywood. All I know about that show is it's a reality show, and Tempest Bledsoe from The Cosby Show.
Sure, the ugly one.
It's her and some other no-name African-American actress from around that time. It's about their husbands.
But it's a reality show?
Yeah. It's like their husbands, and they just boss their husbands around constantly.
Remember like 5 years ago when they were saying reality TV show was about to go?
Yeah. I remember when it got big. Glee?
Oh, boy.
Glee's a good show. Actually, I really liked the pilot for Glee, and I'm kind of checking
Well,
it out.
everybody remembers that you're gay for musicals, which apparently this is. Last night when you came over and we were hanging out in my room, I just had my iPod on shuffle. You decided to take my dock station over and play Don't Stop Believin', but the Glee version.
Sang by the cast of Glee, yeah.
And you cranked it so loud that my roommate had no choice but to hate you, and you were singing along. It was very cute. That's what I was trying to say.
I loved it. But, yeah.
You have nothing else to say about it? I hear Mr. Stephen Tobolowsky is in it.
Stephen Tobolowsky's pretty funny in it. Jane Lynch is fucking hilarious in it.
In everything, right? Party Down, too.
When she's in it. But now she's not even in Party Down anymore.
That's what I heard.
Because of Glee, but she's hardly in Glee. It seems like she could do like one day.
She's
on
all
the
over
set.
the TV promos.
Yeah, well, she's not in very much of the show. What else is worth talking about? The Jay Leno show. I saw the first episode of that.
I haven't seen any,
Wait,
but
wait. Hated it.
I was actually going to give it 2 snaps in a circle, but
Brotherhood.
Long live the new flesh.
Michael Bay versus Megan Fox, go.
I can't do it. I can't relive it.
Really?
You want to pretend like we haven't had the conversation earlier?
I just want to re-engage in this. I don't feel like...
I realize that
did
sometimes
you feel
there's-
fulfilled after we talked about it the first time?
Listen, there's times when we go, oh, I wish we were recording that, but that's it.
Like today over breakfast.
Yeah. But You can't pretend like you didn't and relive the conversation.
Nobody would even
was-
have to know that if you'd fucking shut your mouth for 10
But
seconds.
no, I'm saying that I don't want to. I don't.
You don't want to put yourself through that.
Right, exactly.
So you're saying fuck the listener.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we didn't already.
We don't
talk
have
about
to. We can address the fact that we've already talked about it.
it. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But let's continue.
But you okay? Go ahead.
I already said it. Michael
Yeah.
Bay versus Megan Fox.
But okay, so you did not let anyone know that we had already talked about it. You're like, oh, hey, here's a topic.
and
of
why not,
conversation.
PJ?
Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we didn't already talk about it. I'm not going to repeat all the same exact things.
Are you implying that you respect the listener more than me?
It's not even
that
about that. It's
we've
just,
been doing this show for more than a year. I think that we
I don't
muster up the energy to, redo a conversation.
I think it's weird to sit here and go, remember that conversation we
I don't even
had
want to talk
earlier?
about it.
Remember that conversation we had earlier? That was interesting. Let's just try to have that conversation over again. It's not spontaneous. That's not what we're about. We can say that earlier today we were arguing. We're talking about Transformers 3.
Do you want to
coming
start
out.
this whole thing over again then?
No. Transformers 3 is coming out. You
It's
said
not coming out.
something-
It's been announced.
Oh, okay.
With Michael Bay and Megan Fox
Right.
attached.
And you said that she must not have pissed him off that badly if she's going to be in the movie again.
Because
I
they had a sparring of words.
Right.
It was well publicized.
Right. And I say
See how smoothly this is going?
he has no choice in that matter.
He has no choice in whether or not she gets cast in Transformers 3.
Right.
You're saying contractually? Because that's what I didn't I didn't fully understand your argument earlier.
Not even about that, no, because I don't know that either of them actually had contracts for it. I'm just saying that if he wanted the job of directing Transformers 3, and why wouldn't he? Because obviously it can be the worst stories of all time that don't even make any sense and just mindless, like easy storyline and stuff like that.
Even the
and
action
it's
set
still
pieces,
gonna
which
make
he's-
so much money.
Right.
And no matter how much money they're throwing at him to direct it, he's going to make a ton more after it makes so much money. So, he's the hired help. Those producers aren't going to let him say, but I don't want Megan Fox, because Megan Fox is what's bringing people in. And
You don't think Michael Bay, being the pioneer behind a $200 million in 5-day
But he's not, though.
opening weekend
it's not
for the shittiest movie of all
it's
time?
It's not like James Cameron and Titanic, where this
I
is
understand
his
Megan
baby.
Fox is hotter than Michael Bay, if that's your
listen,
argument.
though. It's not like this is his baby. This is something he conceived. This is fucking Transformers. This was made into a cartoon movie. It was talked about being made into a movie for years and years. Super high budget. He's not the boss of the Transformers franchise at all. He's the guy who's directing the movies.
I'm just saying after his...
Twilight was huge, and they fired that director.
That's a good point.
Those producers know that if they don't have Megan Fox in the movie, all the guys who think she's so fucking hot aren't going to be as inclined, because those are the guys who watch it and they actually like Transformers 2. But by the time the third one comes out, if Megan Fox isn't in it, they're not going to go see it.
Yeah, but
and they know that. So Michael Bay has to just shut up, and he's way more replaceable than she is in that movie.
I think you're wrong. Megan
way
Fox is...
more.
Okay. Transformers 2 made...
It's
I
not.
already
it's
said
not
the obscene number...
It's not storytelling at all. The direction of that movie. It's not storytelling. It's a whole bunch of CGI and big elaborate stunts that they could find somebody else to do. They'd like to keep Michael Bay, and I'm sure they're throwing a shitload of money at him, but they're not going to let him fire Megan
Then
Fox.
answer me this. If Megan Fox is the draw to a Transformers franchise, then how come people didn't flock to the theaters to see Jennifer's Body, which just came out?
Well, because
That was a flop by all means.
because, like I say, the people still really like Transformers. Like, they still really think they're good movies. They're idiots, but they actually like the movie. And people who aren't going to like Jennifer's Body. And little kids and stuff like that.
I think you're contradicting yourself, though.
No, not at all. What do you mean?
I mean that if you said Michael Bay, Megan Fox
No.
over Michael Bay.
Exactly what I said was that these guys like the movie, but Megan Fox is the main draw. They wouldn't go see a third one if Megan Fox wasn't in it. As far as not going to see Jennifer's Body, it's the two of them combined. They love Megan Fox in Transformers, and they also really like the Transformers movie. Jennifer's Body does not appeal to a wide audience.
They sure
You know what
thought
I mean?
it was going to.
That's
though.
why it failed. Yeah, because they got fucking Diablo Cody, ridiculous. Oh, it was so great reading her editorial in Entertainment Weekly after that movie failed so badly, and she just completely admitted defeat. Oh man, it was fucking.
Is
great.
that right? She did.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
she did that.
Say it was respectable. She made comments like, "So I sat around with my husband at the Chateau Marmont, and we've fucking we were discussing about what a great cult classic movie this is going to be, and you know how people are just going to fucking. I'm glad it failed almost. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because this is going to be one of those underground sleeper hits.
In my opinion, it's about time she had a failure. Because didn't Toni Collette just get nominated for that awful show that Diablo Cody's behind?
Is she behind that show?
United States of Terror, I believe she
mentioned
is,
it in that article, but I don't know what her role is on it. She
Because
wasn't even
Juno was an
she wasn't even
absurd
at
success.
The Emmys. It's not like she created it. She probably just writes on it.
I think, okay, you could be right.
She would be at the Emmys had she created it.
So what's your favorite movie of the year, Ben?
I'm just saying that, just to tie it up, that Michael Bay is more replaceable. If it wasn't... The thing is, if they...
What big action... Okay, Tony Scott. What big action director, aside from Tony Scott, makes a Michael Bay-type movie?
They'll get some new guy. They'll get some commercial director.
See, I doubt
guarantee
it.
But
now that
but this is the thing.
Hold on, PJ.
Okay.
Now that Transformers 2 has proven to be as huge as it was, critically panned all across the board, but it still made as much money as it did. You don't think that in itself,
because
they're going to put a
special-
commercial director onto a franchise that they're hoping will double that the next time around?
Well, the guy
Michael
that,
Bay is a pull. He's a name.
The guy-
Ask movie guy Matt.
The guy who did District 9 was originally, and all he had directed was commercials like in South Africa.
Yeah, compare the box office numbers for that compared to Transformers 2.
But he signed on a deal that fell apart before he ever did District 9 was he was hired to do the Halo movie.
I did hear that,
Which
yeah.
was like a $200 million budget or something like that. I'm probably exaggerating. But that's it. And that movie would have made wicked fucking money had it been made and come out. What I was trying to say is that if Michael Bay gets fired, that's going to be such a huge publicized thing. If not for that, nobody would notice if he didn't direct the third one. I'm talking about the idiots who like Transformers, who think it's a good movie and it's hilarious and she's so fucking hot and they got to see it. They don't give a fuck who's directing it, really. As long as it looks like it, they do not care if Michael Bay is directing it or not. They do care if Megan Fox is in it. And the producers know that. And like I say, they'd love to keep Michael Bay because they don't want to take a gamble on someone else. And plus it would be so public, but he's replaceable.
I hate to admit this, but I think you got me.
Really?
Just there at the end, yeah. You made sense there at the end. Only in the sense that you're right, because the yokels that forked over all the money to see Transformers 2 are going to see regardless.
They can't tell you one... while I guarantee they've seen and loved every other Michael Bay movie, if you ask them, 7 out of 10 people can't tell you one other movie he did. If you say, just what's one other movie he directed, they won't know. But when you say, well, you know, there was Armageddon. Oh, I like that movie. There's Con Air. Oh, I fucking love that movie. The Rock. Oh man, that movie's badass.
Yeah, don't bring up Pearl Harbor though.
But they don't.
Everybody
know,
agrees on that one.
But they don't know Michael Bay by name. They don't give a fuck who's directing.
Yeah, that's true. All right, man, you win.
He's
Congratulations.
got a good eye for action and stuff, but he's replaced.
See, it was worth talking it out again because I felt like I was still the winner.
Yeah, I'm happy. What's the last movie you saw in the theater, man?
I was just gonna ask. Well, you did a fake voice, which means you don't really care, but I really was just going to ask you that.
The last movie I saw in the theater, I already forget. We talked about it.
Was it Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah.
That's the second to last I saw, and I want to go right back to that. But the actual last movie I saw was The Informant, which was good, not great, a little long. Also, I watched The Girlfriend Experience, speaking of Soderbergh.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to rent that. I saw that that's out.
Have you seen Sasha Grey's other work?
I think I definitely looked her up, especially right after that movie came out, and she's just really flat-chested.
She is. She's like an A cup or something.
Yeah.
But she's one of the biggest porn stars out there. She's an industry maker.
Yeah.
And plus, she's not to go off on porn, but I'm pretty familiar with Sasha Grey, and she's more hardcore than most of the hardcore girls.
Maybe if I saw The Girlfriend Experience, I would probably like her in that movie and then be more interested in her porn.
See, it worked the other way around with me.
Really?
Because
I was not into what I saw of her porn.
I've jerked off to her plenty.
Okay.
We follow her on Twitter, don't you know?
Yeah, I did know that.
Because of me. But no, I would say her character was pretty fucking bland in the Girlfriend Experience. But I get that's what he was going for. Like, she's just pretending to be somebody. She's living another life. Whatever. It was fine. Let's go back to Inglourious Basterds. That's what I really want to talk about. You had seen it probably a week before I had, so I assume opening weekend?
Yeah.
And occasionally a movie will get under your skin and you'll just want to talk to me about it, which is fine as long as you don't spoil it for me, which you didn't. But you went on and on and on about Christoph Waltz's character, Hans Landa, being, what did you say, the best character on screen since Daniel Plainview?
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. I agree.
Yeah. I'm not as excited about it anymore. I still think it was really great, but it embarrasses me to talk about how much I went off on it, especially since everyone else did. But he was great.
You're right. It's a little fucked up, but let's keep going.
Yeah.
Because it really was an amazing movie. And I was worried about, I remember I made you, after you had seen it, I talked to you on the phone and had you describe all the most violent scenes so I would know what to expect.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, there was some scalping in it, sure, but it didn't gross me out too much.
What about the end when he's carving it into the guy's head?
Oh, I covered my eyes for
that
sure.
was pretty gross.
Yeah.
Did I talk about the awful theater experience I had there?
I don't think I
On
might,
this
no.
show? I think I might have.
No, you.
Well, the week before we had seen The Time Traveler's Wife, which I was really excited for because I fucking loved that book.
Yeah, how'd it hold up to the book?
Not very well.
It looked terrible. I haven't read the book, but
it was a really full theater, and this girl, she's like a Mexican girl. She's like a teenager. She's got 2 kids, one like Sophie's age, like 2 years old, and one infant in a car seat that's being carried by this girl's mom, so these kids' grandma. And like literally they come and we're just going like, oh man, I hope they don't sit right by us. I hope they don't sit behind us. But they take the seats directly next to us. Like this girl's sitting next to Alvina. Plus they came in like 15 minutes after the movie started. And immediately this girl, Sophie age, starts doing exactly what Sophie would do, which is just talking and squirming around and going, Mom, Mom, hi, Mom, hi, Mom. Just like bullshit like that over and over again. And she's going like, in this volume, hi, honey, keep it down. It's a movie. Like just talking just as loud. And like it never stopping. And then like immediately her cell phone rang. And her mom answered it, and she's like, it's for you. Talk to him. It's Chris. And this girl gets on the phone and just starts talking. Oh, my God. It was awful. We were able to move
that
seats,
seems
though.
almost unbelievable at this point in everybody's lives.
We moved.
Let me ask you this, though. I'm sorry, before you go. This was in Yakima, I assume?
Yeah.
When you said Mexican, I assumed, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we get little disclaimers before the movie starts, and at least when I worked at the Yakima movie theaters, they didn't have anything that says, please turn off your cell phones, no text during the show. Did they have something like that now?
There's like a super
Not that you should need that, but...
super cheesy, so dated, like, it's like a computer-generated thing at the beginning, and it's like, turn off all cell phones. And it's like a huge flip phone that closes.
Yeah, that's the same slideshow that I used to show when I worked there.
But it says, turn off your cell phones, and I think it says, like, keep your children quiet or something like that. Probably in a nicer way. But, yeah, we moved to the other side. It happened to be one of those big stadium seaters, and we moved way to the other side. Like,
Please don't spoil the movie by adding your own soundtrack. That's the one we get. Or it takes... many phone calls to make a movie, but only one to ruin it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see?
Those are
you need to move to Seattle.
But yeah, we moved very far away, and we could still hear her. And they stayed throughout the whole movie. It was pretty bad. But then when I saw Inglourious Basterds, this was the very next week, there was just a lady who just came up the aisle so loud, and she was, like, old. So you're like, oh, she's going to be quiet. But she was so obnoxious. Alvina had gone to the car to get her sweater. And so
she was there solo?
No, she was there with her husband.
Okay.
And Alvina had gone to the car to get her sweater and left her purse hanging on the side of the chair. And so the woman comes up, and literally the only 2 seats left in the theater are right next to us. So she starts to sit down in the seat, and I move Alvina's purse off of it, and I'm like, oh, let me move this for you, because it's like basically on her chair. And she goes, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to steal it. Ha, 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 ha. Like, what? And just immediately that was it. And what's the very first thing that happens in Inglourious Bastards?
Let me think about it.
Very first thing.
Something, chapter 1.
After titles.
Chapter
1. And it says a little something after, but I think even chapter 1 shows up before anything else. And she goes, chapter 1, like it's a book. And just did that nonstop. Unlike the people with the babies, people were hushing this lady left and right, and she just never stopped. A scalping scene, gross, he's cutting off his head. And every line of dialogue out of Brad Pitt's mouth that was meant to make you laugh, she laughed hysterically at for like a good 30 seconds after the joke was told. And at the end of that 30 seconds, repeated the joke that made her laugh. Oh, it was so bad.
So you're not the type that
And I
stand
still
up and
enjoyed
say
the
something
movie.
to a manager?
No, I wouldn't do that. Like, I would like to be, I wouldn't do that. That's a bitch move. I would like to be the person that's like, can you
I've
keep
been
it
tempted
down?
to do that. Come on, sometimes it's if you're. I'm
But
surprised you were
shouldn't-
able to enjoy the movie as much as you
Shouldn't
did.
although people are shushing her, but shouldn't you say something to her before you go to the manager? Like,
Not if she's going to pull out a knife on me or something.
This lady was like old and sweatpants.
Still,
and
you don't know.
sweatshirt, and it was so out of character for her.
Sweatpants have a lot of hiding spots.
I swear, like, I still can't believe that lady, like, I think I have a pretty good read on people being a poker player.
Being a mentalist. You watch a lot of Criminal Minds. I see what you're saying,
Right.
yeah.
She just doesn't.
Did you
fit-
talk about that on our gay TV preview?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
She doesn't fit the profile, as they would say it in the BAU. Like, just the way she looked, like, it just didn't seem to be. I'm not saying that she looked classy because she was white or anything like that. She was definitely not classy. Super trashy. But, like, you know, grandma doesn't dress well, but just because she's old and she's grandma. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it could have been something like that. Like, you just expected this quiet old woman. But she was insane.
She is seeing Inglourious Bastards on opening weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely got a streak within her.
And I don't mean to say she was as old as grandma. She was probably like in her 50s.
Still, though, yeah. You should know to have proper movie etiquette. It drives me nuts.
Oh yeah, I mean she was clearly some sort of trash. That
Surprisingly, here in Seattle, I see a lot of movies. There's not too much of that. I mean, there's some, but mainly it's just somebody that has their BlackBerry out, like in the seat ahead of me. Not that it's making noise or anything, but it just pisses me off to see that they're not paying attention, even if it's something I don't care that much about.
yeah, I try not to ever look at my phone.
Me neither. I
do.
turned it off completely.
But usually I'm seeing a movie by myself, and I'll sit in the way back. And
It's a good spot when you're by yourself.
Yeah, and then if it's kind of a boring movie, like I think even during Brothers Bloom, oh yeah, because they mention a book, The Confidence Man by Herman Melville,
Which
and
you
I was
immediately
laying in
bought
bed.
and adapted yourself
Yeah,
to.
like I literally looked it up on my phone and found it on Amazon.
Yeah, but if you're in the back, I guess that's
I'm
fine.
in the back, and there's like maybe 2 other guys spread out in the theater.
I remember when you saw Brothers Bloom, which I just watched.
I couldn't read that book, by the way. It's too hard to read.
The Confidence Man?
Yeah.
I just watched The Brothers Bloom. I remember you saw it in the theater, and we're really excited. Did you really like it that much? I remember what you said after was,
When I called you, I was really drunk. Like, I think I went out drinking after.
Oh, yeah. And you were definitely drunk, and you were going on and on about having just seen The Brothers Bloom, but not because the movie was that great, or at least you didn't get that across at the time. It was more about Mark Ruffalo's suit and Mark Ruffalo's voice, and how much you wanted both of those things.
Well, I said I was like, you know how easily influenced I am by things.
It's ridiculous.
Well-
I tell people about your movie influences, and they don't believe me.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, but whatever.
Like when you saw Rounders, for instance.
But I
you
said,
thought you were Edward Norton's character Worm for like a year after that.
I told you 3 things. I said I really want to do 3 things in this movie or something like that. Like there's 3 things. 1, I want to be a confidence man.
Of course.
2,
And Burns taught me that.
I want to have all of Mark Ruffalo's clothes. I think I said I want to have all of Adrian Brody's clothes from that movie. And 3rd, I want Mark Ruffalo's voice.
So what is it about his voice?
I don't know, but it's a pretty cool voice, especially as a con man. Like it worked best for that. I think
We've had a man crush on him for a long time.
I think
though.
his voice has best served him, and You Can Count on Me.
Agreed.
And
his hair has best served him in Zodiac.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then in The Brothers Bloom, those are the times his voice really came into play.
The movie as a whole, though, Brothers Bloom, 3 out of 5 stars, I say.
What about You Can Count on Me? What do you give that?
I haven't watched it recently, but we used to love that movie.
I gotta give that like at least 4 3/4 out of 5, and I don't know why I don't just say 5 out of 5.
Why don't you?
There's
Are
not
you too
a boring
afraid?
moment.
No, there's not.
I love that.
This is supposed to be our fall movie preview, and yet we're talking about a movie from 1999.
Like literally Mark Ruffalo's first movie.
But he's
That's
so
right, he
great
was
in
the
it.
Dentist.
If anybody likes Culkins, there's a Culkin in there, I
Yeah.
think. Rory, right?
Yeah, Rory was good.
Anything coming out that you're really itching to see? What do you think about this Where the Wild Things Are trailer?
I'm not in.
You didn't bother to see Up. You're not into seeing kids' movies. You know you have a kid. Do you think when she gets of a certain age that will change?
No, I think that obviously she'll want to see them, but
Yeah.
I
You
can't
won't
get
tag
into it.
along?
Like that text Barry sent about with all the animation and 3D movies out there. It's like I couldn't be less interested in that. But as far as Where the Wild Things Are, I'm very interested in that. I
Well,
think
you
it
loved that
looks-
book as a kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's not much to the book, though. I'm sure it's its own completely
No, and
different
that's-
thing. But, like, I don't know. I think Spike Jonze has made a visually beautiful movie.
Or at least a visually beautiful trailer.
Yeah.
Especially that Arcade Fire song when it really kicks in. God, it motivates me
what
so
song
much.
is that?
I think it's called Wake Up. It's the one that's on the trailer.
Oh, I can't think of it.
But I recently, because I'm broke and I'm sorry I couldn't do better, I bought your daughter that for her 2nd birthday, a copy of Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah.
And I remember I was at a bar and I was waiting for somebody to show up, and I had just bought it, so it was still in hand. And I read it in the time that it took my first beer to be delivered to me. It's literally 11 pages or something, or 11 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how they're going to stretch that for a whole movie, but
Well, it's obviously going to be its own story.
clearly, I mean, and you can gather that from the trailer. I'm just wondering how much there were no real no real personalities to any of the monsters in the book.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot to flesh out,
Yeah,
sure.
a ton of freedom came with these characters. I mean, I think they decided
Still,
what
are they going to butcher it? Maybe the trailer's fooling us. Maybe it's going to be like fucking Cat in the Hat. Mike Myers shows up
Yeah,
at the end.
I don't think so. I think that what they did was they're like, what moral do you take out of this 11 sentence book? And then let's just make, whatever the conflict was or anything like that. Maybe I saw some dismissive mother issues or something like that, so we'll work that into it. Like, it's all open for interpretation.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what he did. Name a Spike Jonze movie you don't like.
Yeah.
Has he only done 2?
That's exactly it. That's why I'll go see that movie.
Yeah. So you will see that. Will you bring your daughter? It might be a little scary. She's still too young, huh?
I don't know that it'd be scary.
Or she'd be that asshole that you were talking
Yeah,
about in the previous
exactly.
screening, yeah.
like I'm thinking.
But I think they're more expecting that in a movie like Where the Wild Things Are.
yeah, maybe
You were at the time traveler's wife, isn't that what you said?
yeah, but it's still uncomfortable for me. Then the thing is,
They don't have
she
mommy
wouldn't
movies
even
in
be
Yakima
interested in
anymore?
it.
They used to.
They might actually do that. I've always said one of the many things Yakima does terribly with their movie theaters is the Mommy and Me movie is always
Should
that.
we explain what that is?
I think everyone knows what a Mommy and Me movie
If
is.
they listen to Never Not Funny, especially.
Yeah, it's where you can take your kid to see a movie, and the kids can be loud and
Right. It's expected. This one time a day, you can, or one time a week, is it in Yakima?
It's like every 2 weeks there. That's one of the main problems.
and you don't
with
get
it.
to choose what the movie is, right?
You don't get to choose what the movie is, and the thing is, the movie is always whatever kid movie is out.
Oh, that's no
when
good.
that's the way it's going to be anyway.
Because when they're of a
Like,
certain
can you
age, it
believe they
doesn't
didn't-
matter what they're watching, right?
Yeah, if they put Star Trek in there, I would have seen Star Trek. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's a perfectly suitable Mommy and Me movie. I'm sure it was everywhere, but they just pick fucking the new Ice Age movie. That's ridiculous. Are you telling me that if I go in there on a Friday night, there aren't going to be kids being this loud?
Right.
Come on.
No, you're right.
Use your brain.
Nobody there does with that franchise, with that establishment.
Oh my God, they got a monopoly on the town. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. See, that one...
That made a shit. You're reading stuff that's already come out, but yeah, that one made a shit ton of money. Also based on a kid's book that I never read.
Yeah.
How about you? Are you familiar with that at all?
No, not at all.
How much do you think the Plant That Ate Dirty Socks will make on opening weekend?
Oh, man.
100 bill?
Dude, let's make that movie.
Why not, right? Let's just buy the rights now.
Oh, my God.
It's probably already bought.
Let's see, Surrogates. Did you see the trailer for Surrogates?
I did, and it did not impress me.
Every now and then one of these movies comes out, and it's one of those things where I'm like, it just looks like a made-up thing.
Like they're pulling a joke on you?
Right. Like a good example is all the trailers at the beginning of Tropic Thunder. Like, it's ridiculous, and you're like, would they actually ever really make that movie? Or on Entourage. I think I've used that exact example before. Like, on Entourage, like, come on, they wouldn't make that movie. Surrogates is like that movie to me. Because what the fuck?
I hear it's terrible.
Yeah.
But that's already come out. I have something I want to ask you about. I know you're looking at an official list, but things are just springing to mind. I know you had recommended that I read this book that's now, it's been pushed back a year, The Road, John Hillcoat's The Road. The trailer seems really misleading to me, at least the first one that they released. They may have made up for it since then.
I hope that they're misleading it and that they didn't actually make the movie like the way they're making it look.
Yeah. Because
Which is
anybody that's read the
basically
book...
Viggo Mortensen and Charlize Theron.
Right.
Which is not the way it should be.
No.
And I hate women, so I don't need them clunking up the movies I go see.
But it should be made clear, anybody that hasn't read the book, like, he has brief flashbacks of his wife. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic time, and it's really just that guy and his son, and occasionally some guy that tries to stab him shows up. So I'm wondering how the cast even looks as impressive as it does. Like, who's Robert Duvall going to play that made an impression on us in the book?
Yeah.
Because it was just mainly the kid and his son. And I flew through that book. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But the trailer has me worried because at least the first one, it started with it looked like a Roland Emmerich movie at the beginning, like showing the world get wiped out. Meanwhile, the book, as far as I remember,
you
started.
don't see any of that.
They
But
never
also
allude to what happened to the world. It's just ash, you
but
know.
from what I read about the movie, is they still don't explain it. But
Then
still,
why show that?
Yeah, they're showing
especially
way
in the
too
trailer.
much.
And the Charlize Theron thing, I have read some early reviews, and they do say some avid readers of the book say that it's pretty faithful. And that Charlize Theron really does only show up in a couple of flashbacks. But they're really making her the selling point.
Yeah.
As if she's done anything since the retard in Arrested Development.
Yeah.
I could have said Aileen in Monster, but I didn't.
The invention of lying, which is supposedly deep down about religion.
Yeah, I just heard that. Yeah, that comes out this week. Are you going to see it?
I'm thinking about it.
Gervais at least co-directed it, which
It looks
probably
as-
means it's pretty funny.
It looks as unfunny as Ghost Town did to me, but I find myself laughing at Ghost Town.
You find yourself laughing
Yeah.
at it? You've
Did
watched
you
it
like
more
that
than
movie?
once? I watched it once.
Yeah, we rented it, and I was laughing at it, so now if it's on HBO or something, I'll leave it on.
I wasn't left cold by it, and just so people know, I'm a big fan of the original Office and extras. Like Ricky Gervais used to do nothing if not make me laugh. And so, yeah, of course he was hilarious in Ghost Town, but I found the whole ghost story part
yeah.
of it was pretty lame.
I agreed, and you can already tell that in this movie, The Invention of Lying, like, they're gonna...
Which used to be called something better. I think it was called This Side of the Truth originally.
Yeah.
That's a better title. Anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, just that there's probably, like, a lot of holes in the plot and just ridiculousness, and this could never happen.
You mean, well, it's basically Liar Liar except for reversed, right?
Well, yeah, but it's the whole world that's affected, not some guy that really.
Yeah,
just
somebody
probably
made a
has
good point.
tumor.
Somebody that had seen it was telling me that that the flaw that they found in the movie is that just because nobody's capable of telling a lie or is aware of the concept of lying doesn't mean that they have to say everything out loud, which is apparently a lot of the jokes in this movie are. Like, okay, we all know that
The invention of subtlety, right? That doesn't make sense.
I still laugh like an asshole. What else do we got?
Have you seen previews for a law-abiding citizen?
No, but I saw one rave review.
Really?
Somebody
Dude.
like, oh, I watched it 3 hours ago and I still can't get it out of my mind. It was something on Twitter.
This is like
I want to blame Slash Film for that, but I don't know for sure.
This is like one of those movies that wouldn't be at the beginning of Tropic Thunder, but in Entourage. a movie about a guy who from prison is still killing all the people responsible.
A guy
for the
played by who? I literally know nothing about this
Okay,
movie.
Gerard Butler plays a guy.
Of course.
And he's like in prison for murder. He murdered somebody that murdered his wife and then got off scot-free, like his wife and kid. And then now, even though he's in jail for that murder, like all of these pre-planned booby traps and just intricate things have been planned out to kill like all the lawyers on the case, the judge who let him off, all the jurors and stuff like that. And so Jamie Foxx plays a guy.
I knew he was in it, but the way you were describing it, like,
And
is
he's
he
like,
still Oscar bait for the most part?
I'm already on death row, boss. Why should I tell you? Why should I tell you how to save them? Why should I stop? I'll give you a clue, and you'll probably figure it out. And probably someone who you think is on your side is on my side because I have a lot of money. Yeah, it's one of those kind of movies.
Well, it sounds enthralling.
That seems like a Vincent Chase movie. Oh, A Christmas Carol? What do you think about that? Have you seen that trailer?
Before I answer that, have you seen Polar Express?
No.
Robert Zemeckis' first exploration into weird, creepy CGI.
No, I have no
It's
interest
not
in
light
seeing
and fluffy
either.
like some other animated movies you see recently. Like, there's something dead-eyed about all of what he's trying to do now.
It looks much different now than it did for Polar Express, though.
That's true. And Tom Hanks is now not playing every character. He's got Jim Carrey for that.
There's something with the eyes that I didn't really like about it, but again, like, it just makes me tune out.
Animation as a whole? That's because you're not a kid and you never have been.
The box looks pretty good. What do you think about
Does
that?
it?
I don't know.
Now, is that based on Outer Limits, right? Not Twilight Zone, which I thought. Because it seems like I have a vague memory of seeing whatever this is initially based on. Although I hear this goes a little too sci-fi at the end.
Really? Did
what
you
I
ever
heard.
see Richard Kelly's second movie?
Oh, Southland Tales.
Yeah.
I did. What a fucking piece of flamin'... I don't even want to finish this yet. What a
I had heard that. and
homo flamin' piece of shit ass.
I got like 20 minutes into
It's
it.
terrible.
Yeah.
And a lot of talent behind it, too. Made me think Donnie Darko was a fluke, and I'm not one of those freaks about Donnie Darko either.
I've never even seen it.
You haven't?
Uh-uh.
It's worth watching. I own it. Feel free to borrow it.
2012.
Let me tell you something about 2012.
There's the obvious thing about why couldn't they wait a couple of years? There's that. I will say that they showed like a special 90-second sneak peek from one scene, and it's like a crazy scene where they're flying an airplane.
Well, they show at least a little bit
through
in the trailer,
buildings.
too.
Yeah, and I swear to God, Alvina's hands like left sweat marks on the couch. Like she thought it was so intense. and
Really?
stuff like that. And it just
I
looks
guess
like a
that's how I
big
felt
cartoon.
in 1996 when I saw a trailer for Independence Day,
Yeah.
and they blew up the White House. But he's still doing that. What movie has he attached his name to? We're talking about Roland Emmerich here.
Yeah.
That hasn't been that movie. Of course, they wait a minute and show all the destruction, and then it says, like, we need to know this, from the director of Independence Day and the day after tomorrow. I notice he doesn't mention Godzilla in his on-screen resume anymore.
Didn't Roland Emmerich direct the Patriot?
No, what?
The Patriot with Mel
No
Gibson?
way. Did he? We might have to confirm this just because I don't believe. Not that that's quality necessarily.
Yeah,
But I thought they were all like End of the World movies.
it seems like it. Or is there some other?
He did his most recent foray into the biz was 10,000 BC, which was the hugest flop ever.
Oh,
How does
man,
he even
that
have the
was him,
budget for
right?
2012? Yeah.
I don't know. I think 2012, like I was saying earlier, is going to be a big draw.
Yeah, and John
I'll
Cusack's
go
in
see
it.
it in the theater.
Although-
That's for sure.
Will you?
Yeah,
John
especially
Cusack-
now. I think Alvina does.
You're not worried she's going to tear your arm off by the time it's over?
Dude, I'll probably get pretty sweaty watching it. I mean, it's going to be a shit movie, but
You'll get sweaty watching it? then?
it probably won't be offensively bad.
I don't know. You saw Day After Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and
That was offensively bad, I would argue.
Oh, really? I enjoyed it in the theater.
No.
I really did.
All I was doing was cackling at Dennis Quaid's every move.
Roland Emmerich directed The Patriot.
My God. Good job, buddy. Has he directed anything else of note? I mean, aside from all the bullshit we mentioned?
Maybe does he have a brother too, Toby Emmerich, or am I making that up?
I know Toby Emmerich is a name. I don't know if they're brothers.
I think Toby Emmerich is a character actor that was in Beautiful Girls.
Okay.
No, that's Noah Emmerich. Eight-Legged Freaks. Oh no, he was executive producer.
I saw that in the theater.
Really?
Yeah. It was pretty fun. David Arquette, big draw for me.
Universal Soldier, he was the director of.
Man, so he goes way back.
Yeah.
Wait, was that pre-Independence Day even?
Yeah, and he directed Stargate.
Oh, okay. Not that I ever enjoyed that either. Remember when we were still going to the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses? Mom was friends, or at least fake friends, with this girl within the congregation, Colleen, that had a couple of kids.
Yeah.
She was blonde, skinny.
I remember her.
She had a couple of kids, or she had 3 kids. And somehow, I couldn't have been that old. Like, it was before I'd ever been old enough to have an actual job. But I was maybe 14, 15, pretty responsible for my age. It's funny how that reversed on me. But she would have me come and babysit sometimes for all 3 of her kids. And the first time I ever went over there to babysit, like, I was afraid of her husband, and I kind of had a crush on her. So, and then I show up to their house, and she's like, "You can eat all the food." This is the first time I'd ever babysat for anybody outside of you, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you never babysat me. We were left on our own together, and we blew it, remember?
Yeah. We can tell that story, too. But speaking of blowing it, so the first time I babysit Colleen's kids, her youngest kid was a boy. The other 2 were girls. The oldest was maybe 10 or 11 at the time.
Yeah.
And the youngest kid, I think his name was Dylan. He was like 4 or 5.
The girl's name was Haley, wasn't it?
Yeah. I realized that.
Oh, my God. Dude, I still say that.
Yeah, that came from her.
Oh, that was great. We used to have such great inside jokes as a kid. Remember backwards hat? And if someone's shirt came up, Billy! If someone's shirt came up a little, you'd go, Billy!
If somebody made a bad pun, Scott Patrick.
I, with the exception of Scott Patrick, I still do all those things. I at least think them in my head. Backwards hat, a little hard, but the rest of it, definitely. Sorry, anyway.
So Dylan's like 5 years old. He's a total asshole. Like, he just wants to fucking get in my face the whole time. I'm just waiting for them to go to bed because they had a Cinemax or something, and I was hoping for some boobs.
I think you were too young for that, weren't you?
No, I don't think so. I remember searching for it.
I guess you would remember.
Yeah. And I was old enough to babysit them, but not responsibly, because the first time I ever went there, Dylan was running around like an idiot, and then he was like chasing his sister and trying to stab her or something. I don't remember. And then they had one of those, you usually only see them like in office buildings, but they had one of those, what do you call it, a water cooler, but like you put the big 5-gallon tank on the thing and it dispenses it, but it was made of glass, strangely.
Oh, my God.
And so he does something and knocks it completely over, so it smashes into smithereens all over their kitchen, and like it fucking soaked anything that was on the floor, imperishable.
Did you urinate yourself?
I freaked out, and I felt like I had to call Colleen, the mom, and I did, which was totally unnecessary. Like, she had me babysit for them like 10 times after that.
Yeah.
But the only reason I brought that up is because you'd mentioned Stargate, directed by Roland Emmerich. And this kid Dylan, who was only 4 or 5, which is a strange age to be obsessed with the movie Stargate, and he totally was. And so every time I went over to babysit, he's like, "Do you want to watch Stargate with me?" And I was like, "All right." And so he puts it on, and I never liked that movie. But then he's in charge of the remote, and he will pause it to ask me if just to make sure that I caught the scene before. And when he's not pausing it, like, I'm not even enjoying the movie if I tried to, because even while the movie's going on, he's like 2 feet away from me on the couch, staring at me, making sure that I'm intently watching the movie. And I think about that sometimes, because when even girlfriends I've had and stuff, when I'm like, "I really like this movie, oh God, you're going to fucking love it," and then I hype it up too much and we throw it on the DVD player, I'm kind of watching their reaction to see if they're digging it or not.